there is an awful lot we can learn from the commercial sector, but there's a flip side to that, and that is that the commercial sector can actually learn an awful lot from us. And what we found through the Heritage Enterprise Programme, that whilst the partnership is not exactly easy at all times, it is incredibly productive, and it's something that we want to do much more about. So let me just talk a little bit about the programme and why we introduced it. The first thing is the idea of the programme stemmed from the first sort of comprehensive analysis that we did of how the United Kingdom stock of listed buildings were used by businesses. The research that we did with English Heritage showed new ideas need old buildings. This is it here. It showed that rather than be a barrier, heritage can actually be a real catalyst for growth, something that we've all intuitively known for some time but have found it quite hard to demonstrate. The research looked at the nature of businesses that are found in historic buildings, and very briefly it found that historic buildings in the towns and cities have a greater concentration of the businesses that are linked to the most productive parts of our economy. It also found that listed buildings are highly attractive to creative industries startups, which is seen as a critical factor for growing the economy in the years to come. And finally, it also found that the listed buildings are far more likely to be occupied by the types of independent, sort of non-branded businesses that really give a place a sense of distinctiveness, authenticity and diversity, and really help to grow those places and make them successful. So those findings sort of backed up something that we've known for a while, that innovation, new products, new services, new economic growth absolutely flourish in distinctive historic environments, and that new ideas not only need new buildings, but they positively thrive in them. So quite clearly, investing in historic buildings can help grow the economy, and that is a crucial element of what HLF is trying to achieve. But there was another reason why we introduced the programme as well, and that is because of the nature of financial support available from the public sector. We reckon, through the research that we've done, that the heritage sector has lost up to 700 million a year since 2010 as a result of the cutbacks. And we know that that money is simply not going to come back, or not come back anytime soon. So therefore, part of HLF's response to that is to begin to challenge our applicants to be more creative with fundraising, to be more enterprising, if you like, and to adapt to these new sort of financial challenges and realities that now exist. So we want to ensure heritage is at the very heart of a resurgent economy, but we also want to help ensure that those of you and us that look after heritage assets become less dependent on the regular public subsidy. Actually, I kind of regret using this slide, or the title of this slide, because what we found through the programmes I'm just about to demonstrate is that heritage is not really in a cold climate. We're seeing an enormous amount of vibrant, creative, enterprising projects coming through, and actually there's very good reason to be positive about what is a very buoyant sector. So, in April last year, we launched the Heritage Enterprise Programme. It offers grants of between 100,000 and 5 million to community-led projects in every case that seek to restore historic buildings at risk and return them to a productive new use. We set ourselves high ambitions for the programme. We want to generate a new wave of private investment and create, as I've said, a new generation of partnerships between social and commercial enterprise organisations. Most critically, we want the projects we fund through this programme to generate a surplus, a profit. We want to provide money that can be reinvested for the benefit of people, communities, and of course the heritage itself. So to achieve our goal and to grow the heritage business, if you like, we need to better understand the markets. So we ask all our applicants under the Heritage Enterprise Programme to demonstrate a clear business need for their project, what the current market conditions are, what the gaps and opportunities exist, and we ask them to identify the value of their property before and after their project is carried out, and to estimate the commercial revenue that they will generate from the productive use of their building. This is where community organisations can learn from the commercial sector. It's very important to try and help our applicants understand to learn how to operate in a commercial and competitive environment, and indeed to thrive. Some of our applicants, it's fair to say, already have that commercial acumen to take their project forward as a sort of viable business, but others don't, and that is why we encourage partnerships with commercial organisations. In other words, we don't want people to apply for a Heritage Enterprise grant if their only ambition is to save a historic building. What we want to see is people coming forward with an opportunity to develop a commercially successful business that will operate from within a heritage setting, heritage building. And this brings me to another key feature of the Heritage Enterprise programme, how we set the grant that we invest in our individual projects. As I've said, our intention is to invest in businesses that are located in historic buildings, not just in the structures themselves. We therefore only invest the amount that is required to unlock a commercially viable scheme. We do this first by estimating the value of the building in its current state, and then how much it will be worth after it has been repaired and returned to productive use. We then work out the total project costs, A, to repair the building, and B, any new development work that's required to make it usable. Clearly, a bank or other private investor will not put money into a scheme where the total project costs are higher than the value of or the commercial yield of the project once it's completed. And that is where HLF fits into this puzzle. We will plug that financial gap that exists by offering grant that covers the difference between the costs and value. In other words, making the scheme commercially viable and hence attractive. And there is a huge, huge demand for this approach. We launched the scheme in April last year. We wanted to, our target was to award 25 million within the first year. In fact, we awarded over 30 million, and we've had over 300 inquiries seeking a total grant of around 250 million. New grants are being made on a regular basis. So this slide shows the awards that were made up to earlier this week. It's now already out of date. We awarded another grant in London on Monday, taking the total amount invested to now over 35 million. This level of demand is absolutely unprecedented for any other HLF programme. It is, in fact, the most competitive of any grant programme that we have ever run. And we are going to put considerably more money in than we originally intended. But we are still only able to fund the best projects. So what are the key ingredients to success? Well, first and foremost, as I've already said, we need to be convinced that our applicants understand the markets, that they've done their homework. We want to be sure that the projected end use will be viable, critical. Secondly, we want to fund projects that address market failure, that are seeking to bring back into use historic buildings that have become too costly to repair, and hence have been acting as a drag on the local economy by putting off would-be investors into that area. Thirdly, it always helps to have a private sector end user. It's not a fundamental requirement, but having a commercial company involved that intends to grow its businesses, create more wealth, jobs and skills opportunities in that area is a real bonus. And given the scale of competition for our funds, most supported projects are likely to have a transformational impact. And by that, I mean benefits are likely to be far wider than just for the repaired historic building and the people that use it. In some instances, our initial investment has unlocked a huge wave of other private and public sector investment into the area. And of course, we always have to remember that we are the Heritage Lottery Fund, and all of the buildings that we have invested in are much loved local historic landmarks, often reminders of a more successful and vibrant time in our history. And it is our hope that investing in these symbols of a past, a successful past, will help communities across the country recover some lost ground. But that's enough about the background to the programme. I'm sure it'll be far more helpful for you to understand about the experience of one of our first and most successful grant projects the Northern Counties Club in Derry, Northern Ireland, taken forward under the, quite simply, inspirational leadership of Helen Quigley. Helen, thank you.
I've been asked to speak on the need to generate income, focus on commercial investment, and how I became involved with the Heritage Enterprise Funding. So to begin with, I'm going to set this in context. You see very clearly that the mission statement is self-explanatory, and as will become clear, our approach is to use the physical and economic regeneration of the city in such a way as to generate income that can be redistributed to help underpin the social fabric of the city. This is pre-2012 group structure, very briefly. There's Inner City Trust and Waterside Development Trust, and as our chairman reminds us, we've been engaged for quite some time now and we're to be married shortly. However, between both of them, they have produced a number of projects, namely the Craft Village, the Tower Museum, the Tower Hotel, the Calga Conference Centre, the Shared Future Centre, and Godfoyle House Complex. All of these projects have and continue to positively contribute to the general regeneration of our city. It's important to say that the ethical and not-for-profit ethos of the group has positioned it well over the years to be a partner of choice for government and other funders. This partnership model has worked well and continues to deliver for our city and its citizens. That's post 12, just clearly indicating that we set up a building preservation trust, which is really the process by which we're taken through a number of historic buildings at this point in time. The object of the Building Preservation Trust is self-explanatory, and as I say, it's a process for taking through a number of historic buildings. This slide shows our beautiful historic walled city, complete walled city. The walls were built just over 400 years ago. You'll see clearly the purple, burgundy, maroon marks are the buildings belong to Inner City Trust. And within the historic walled city, a number of buildings have fallen into disrepair, and we are currently working at a number of them. But it is sufficient to say that today we're going to concentrate on the Northern Counties building, which will become a 31-bed boutique hotel inside the walled city, and it will be the only one of its kind in the city side of our city. And it is hugely exciting for the city, generally speaking, but we are indebted to the Heritage Enterprise for affording this opportunity. The Northern Counties projects, that's what it was. Originally developed in 1830s, 2 buildings, remodelled in 1902 by architect Alfred A. Foreman. It's a Category B listed. Over the 30 years, over many years, it has had many uses, but most famously used as a private gentleman's club. And this building became an iconic base for the political, civic and business leadership. It has a huge history, and time doesn't permit me today to go into it, but it's probably one of the things that excites the people of our city about the development of this particular project. What it has become, very clearly, there has been little or no activity. The building has been sold and resold. Significant features were stripped out. It's been derelict and left vacant, and quite a bit of internal damage. I suppose it's fair to say that over the years, the troubles and violence took hold, and the military set up command and control posts in the immediate vicinity of this building to protect the main courthouse, which cut off the footfall and economic activity around this area, and that remains for the last 30 years. So again, hence, we're indebted to the Heritage Enterprise, and very shortly I'll be demonstrating what it's going to do. This is how the building is today, needing quite substantial works. What it will be again. Clearly it will be restored internally and externally. The professional team have got specific instruction. The existing building is to be restored as is. There will be additional new build onto it. We've since acquired a number of buildings in the adjacent street. It will become attractive again. It will enhance the streetscape. It will be vibrant, productive, and it will contribute greatly to the well-being of our city. Now, this is the important part, the how. And we very clearly put it up here as help. And when you look at these buildings initially, that's really what we need. So I'm going to take each of them individually. The heritage investment makes sense. We believe that investing in heritage does make economic sense. And some time ago, there was a report carried out by the Derry Visitor Convention Bureau that clearly indicated that visitors who come to see the built heritage stay twice as long and spend twice as much. We knew of the Heritage Lottery because of all of the good work it has carried out over many years, and we concluded that the Heritage Lottery Fund would be a strong, responsive and innovative partner for us. We came to London to the Heritage Dragons event, and the Northern Counties represented the Northern Ireland region. We learned more of the Heritage Enterprise Fund, that's 2 years ago, bearing in mind it was only launched last year, and thought that here existed a potential source of funding that could help us achieve the dream of not only restoring the beautiful Bolton, but making it a vibrant and strong, economically sustainable contributor to our city. The economics of it. In keeping with the historic and indeed productive use of previous days, we decided to rebuild the Northern Counties as a quality hotel, a must-stay destination for Derry, and hopefully you will all come to visit it in the near future. To this end, we sought out an industry expert in ASM Howard, the accountancy firm who specialises in hotel and leisure investment. They were appointed to carry out a study and produce a business plan with scenarios so we could be comfortable that our vision was economically sustainable. We are happy that this is the case. The Trust will earn good returns that in turn will allow us to pursue further projects within the city. Our model of civic reinvestment ensures we take a longer view and generate sufficient resources that enable us to recycle returns into other projects. If you like, this is a heritage multiplier, and that is why the creation of the income streams that are sustainable are so important. Indeed, the heritage enterprise investment we receive will not only help restore this Bolton, but will help contribute to a wider historic renewal within the city. It will be, in effect, a grant that keeps on giving. The importance of a well-researched independent business appraisal cannot be emphasised enough. The investment from Heritage Enterprise helps provide, as Ian has rightly pointed out, the balance of funding needed to make restoring historic buildings an economically attractive proposition. It is in many ways essential, and it works as a catalyst for regeneration. I've already spoken about the longer term review, and working in partnership and obviously with the invaluable support of the Heritage Enterprise staff has made this hopefully a very viable project. And indeed we would say the Heritage Enterprise Fund is a vital ingredient in building the capital development model, and it has enabled us to proceed confidently to build a wider partnership with the regional government, and they actually match fund the amount of money that we got from the Heritage Enterprise scheme. So combined with our own funds, it will be an excellent project, well established, and it will be let out at a rent that will be affordable but not punitive. So in summary, Chair, the result initially of this capital partnership will be that the building will be restored. We will be creating 50 jobs in the city centre. We will be increasing footfall in the city centre. We will be helping to restore vitality to an area of decay and decline, and this is no underestimation. The top end of our city has been derelict for the last 40 years. It is a hugely exciting project and vitally important for the regeneration of that end of the city and it is a gateway into the emerging cathedral cultural quarter. Not to underestimate how it actually enhances the tourism product, and our local Visit Derry team are with us practically on a weekly basis asking, where are you now with the project? So a further partnership benefit is that it helps to achieve not only the economic and physical regeneration elements of the Trust's mission, but it generates good sustainable income which will be utilised in helping to underpin the social fabric of our work, which is vitally important at this time in our city. So we do understand, delegates, the importance of investing in our heritage. And I think the help framework on the slide sums up the benefits that we can secure if we follow the path and delivery in a new covenant between heritage and economy. The heritage enterprise support is a vital ingredient in that covenant. And finally, Chair, our experience of the Heritage Fountain. The staff and advisors were extremely supportive and helpful. The process is clear, not cumbersome. The guidelines to qualify and claim grant aid are straightforward. The concept of partnership with Heritage Enterprise Fountain really did mean partnership, and overall we got great support in pursuit of a great project. And I think it is fair to say, Chair, we commend the Heritage Lottery Fund for the vision and the wisdom that they had in carrying out the research, in clearly identifying the gaps and putting in place the appropriate infrastructure to address those, to allow those of us who are engaged in historic work to continue that work. So thank you all very much for your time and attention.